Game show contestants who got cheated. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Screeny. Watching game shows can be pretty fun, but things get a bit trickier once you find yourself in the hot seat. You're forced to go against stage fright, incredible pressure, and other contestants in order to win the prize that could potentially turn your life around. Even when you think you're only a step away from scooping up an incredible fortune, it can easily be snatched away from you at the very last moment. And that's exactly what happened to some of the contestants who took part in the most popular programs of this kind. Let's take a look at game show contestants who got cheated. Before we list some of the most unfortunate people in game show history, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Number 7. Doomed Marriage. The game show Who Wants to Marry a Multi-Millionaire was pretty controversial from the get-go, but things didn't get any better once it finally wrapped up. Many critics felt this beauty pageant-like competition was pretty sexist and exploitative, especially since it contained a distasteful swimwear portion. Darva Conger was one of the 50 women taking part in the first and only season of this show, and she came out victorious at the end. She managed to win a 3-carat diamond ring, around $100,000 in prizes, and an opportunity to tie the knot with a wealthy businessman, Rick Rockwell. Despite the show's shady premise, millions of people tuned in to watch this awkwardly mismatched couple walking down the aisle. Conger immediately regretted her decision because she didn't get the fairy tale romance that she was hoping for. Despite his reported net worth of $2 million, it turned out that Rockwell lived in a pretty humble home with a broken toilet in the backyard. To make the whole thing even worse, his former fiancée filed a restraining order against this self-proclaimed millionaire, accusing him of domestic violence. Conger later admitted she felt uncomfortable in Rockwell's presence, and their honeymoon in Barbados felt like a nightmare that she'd never wake up from. She sought an annulment because they never consummated the marriage, and it was obvious the whole thing was a sham. Who Wants to Marry a Multi-Millionaire was cancelled after this scandal, and Fox avoided airing shows of similar nature in the future. Number 6. Wrong Password. $1 Million Money Drop was one of the most fraudulent game shows Fox ever gave us, and it was hit with several lawsuits after only one season on air. A pair of contestants would get $1 million at the start of the game, and they were asked to wager the money on a series of 7 multiple-choice questions before taking the winnings home. Several contestants questioned the legitimacy of certain answers featured on the show after losing huge chunks of money they definitely should have won. Andrew and Patricia Murray played an important role in the demise of $1 Million Money Drop after claiming they were robbed by the producers. The couple reached the final round with $580,000 in the bank and decided to go all in, hoping they'll walk away with this incredible cash reward. They were asked what's the most common computer password according to the data security firm IMPERVA. The Murrays had to pick between 3 answers: password, 123456, and I love you. They went with the first and lost it all, but later accused Fox and their partners of tricking them into giving the wrong answer. The couple claimed IMPERVA never actually conducted an objective survey that could support their claims that 123456 is the most common password out there. This information was based on an analysis of a single hacking incident that took place in 2009, and Andrew and Patricia stated they would have played their cards differently if they had known that. They eventually filed a lawsuit against the network asking for $580,000 in return. Number 5. Bad words. We're all guilty of making the mistake of mispronouncing certain words every once in a while, but Renee Durrett was the only one who had to pay the price. This Wheel of Fortune contestant walked away from nearly $4,000 after being disqualified for the most ridiculous reason in the game show's history. Durrett was one of the contestants asked to guess the phrase 7 swans a-swimming from the beloved Christmas carol The 12 Days of Christmas. Despite the fact she made the right guess, Durrett went home empty-handed after dropping the hard G from the last word. The The audience were outraged once this episode aired, and the Wheel of Fortune received a lot of backlash online following the broadcast. In addition to calling it totally unfair, many viewers felt this move was discriminatory towards Southerners because millions of people pronounced this word the same way this contestant did. The Wheel of Fortune producers wouldn't budge despite the backlash and insisted her answer violated the rules because it was spoken in a vernacular. Jarrett later claimed that she's not holding any grudges and said that she had a blast filming the show despite her loss. She still enjoys watching it every night and doesn't blame the host Pat Sajak for her demise. Her rival Amy Vincinetti was the one who profited the most from this mistake, since she eventually walked away with $45,000 in cash and prizes at the end of the episode. Number 4. Pointless Chase. The British quiz show The Chase is one of the most successful programs of its kind to ever air on ITV. In order to score a victory on this show, the contestants must outsmart the chasers, professional know-it-alls who are there to do everything in their power to prevent average Joes from winning. The Chase managed to stay on air for almost a decade thanks to Bradley Walsh, who did a brilliant job hosting it, and a variety of chasers who managed to impress the audience with their knowledge. Despite its undeniable success, this quiz show was in the center of a couple of controversies over the years, since the audience felt that some of the contestants were robbed by the producers. One of the most notable cases took place back in March 2018. Peter and Warjinder were one step away from taking away $60,000, but their dream fell apart at the very last second. Careful viewers claimed the clock stalled in the final round, allowing the chaser Anne Hegarty to catch up with the contestants and come out victorious. This wasn't the first incident regarding the clock on this show, and the host Bradley Walsh was often the target of the angry viewers. They repeatedly accused him of reading the questions more quickly whenever he interacted with the chasers, giving them extra time to come up with the answers. Walsh dismissed these accusations by saying that they have lawyers on the floor to make sure everything goes smoothly. Number 3. Tiny Genius. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader was one of the most popular modern game shows to ever air on Fox, and it spawned an entire franchise with dozens of international versions. Despite its enormous success, this program stirred a bit of controversy after people started questioning its auditioning and casting process. An anonymous mother whose daughter tried to get a spot on the show claimed she was rejected because she wasn't a holder of a Screen Actors Guild card. According to her, this show didn't simply feature average school kids who were there to humiliate adults by showcasing their advanced knowledge and higher intelligence. Or denies these rumors, and they didn't hurt the show one bit. It kept going strong for years at Fox, but we probably should have noticed something fishy was going on, since only 2 people won the $1 million prize. One of them happened to be a Nobel Prize-winning astrophysicist. So go figure. Number 2. Spelling Newbie. Jeopardy has been around for half a century and is pretty much impossible to name a show more beloved by the American public. But that doesn't necessarily make it perfect. The masterminds behind this hit quiz show made a couple of slip-ups over the years, and the most notable one took place in 2013 during Kids Week. The tiny contestants were asked to name a document from 1863 described as a fit and necessary war measure by Abraham Lincoln. Thomas Hurley III gave the right answer, but he made one minor mistake. This boy bungled the spelling of the words Emancipation Proclamation and walked away with nothing since the judges deemed his answer invalid. Twitter users were furious after seeing him lose, and Thomas felt the same way. The boy said he was pretty upset after being cheated out of the final question because he simply made a spelling error. His parents were angry as well, and claims their son was barely holding it together and almost started crying after the show. Many blamed the Jeopardy host Alex Trebek for this ruling, but he tried to clear the air and explains that it wasn't his call. He felt the judges ruled a little bit harshly, but they made a valid point at the end of the day. Hurley's rival Skylar Hornback went on to collect $66,000, which is the third highest one-day total ever won on Jeopardy. Number 1. Research fail. Andrew and Patricia Murray weren't the only contestants who fallen victim to the producers of $1 Million Money Drop. Same thing happens to Gabe Okoye and Brittany Matey, who lost $800,000 despite giving the right answer to another trick question. They were asked, which item was sold in stores first? The Macintosh computer, Sony Walkman, or Post-it notes? They went with Post-it notes, but the host Kevin Pollak informed them the Sony Walkman was the correct answer. Viewers at home felt that this can't be true and decided to do a bit of research. It eventually turned out that Post-it notes were introduced by the name Press and Peel 2 years before the Walkman came out. After this information saw the light of day, the executive producer Jeff Apolloff was forced to admit their research department made a mistake. They decided to right the wrong by giving Gabe and Brittany another shot to play on $1 Million Money Drop. The couple wasn't pleased with this cop-out because they felt it's impossible to recreate the type of situation they faced during their first appearance on the show. To make the whole thing even worse, it quickly became clear that Fox executives never really wanted them to win the $800,000 back, since they canceled the show after only one season. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.